Hey, what's up? What's up, guys? Welcome back. Again, this right here is my second live today, Unapologetic Real Talk. Now, I hope you guys show me some love like it was showed to me earlier, okay? Yes, indeed. Like I said, it is what it is, okay? And also, it's not just me, it's YouTube, okay? Like I said, I love coming on here. I've been coming on here for almost 2.5 years. And I enjoy, coming on. But I always talked about, even if I have two or three together, hey, I'm good. But it doesn't settle with YouTube. Okay, so make sure you go ahead and hit like, comment, and share these videos for more unapologetic content. Because, like I said, it is what it is, and I stand on my truth. And so, about now, almost 2.5 or maybe 3 years, you guys should know me. Okay, I see my girls in the house, country girl Ken-ough. She says, "Good evening, unapologetic, real talk, and truth tellers." Thank you very much. Thank you very much, country girl Ken-ough is in the house. 5 o'clock is her time. She loves 5 o'clock. Okay, but yes, guys, make sure you go ahead and get this live out. Share, because like I said, when I look at other people content, I'm not going to go ahead and dummy myself down, and that's real talk. Okay, so guys, welcome to Unapologetic Real Talk. I started to go ahead and push it back, but I say no, but I'm going to need more than 500 viewers on this platform. If not, I might as well not even come live. Just go ahead and make some videos and just put it out like that, okay? Because I know when it comes to my content, I try to be in my truth, okay? So make sure you go ahead and share, and hit like, and support this channel, because trust me, YouTube is not playing. YouTube is not playing. And I thought that YouTube was not pushing out my videos, but the thing about it is they push it out. But if it's not getting any viewers, in so many minutes or whatever they do, then they go ahead and start pushing it out. Okay. And I know, like, when it comes to some people, people don't like the truth. People want you to go ahead and jump on the bandwagon or tickle their ears, but I'm not going to do it. Okay. That's real talk. I might as well just go ahead and just, put some little um, videos together and not come live. Don't make no sense for me coming in and I'm not getting the support. Okay. So again, guys, welcome to Unapologetic Real Talk. I'm not going to tell you no lie. When I just watched Love and Marriage in Huntsville to this morning, I watched it this afternoon, and I am watching it right now. So let me see if I can go ahead and push it back. It took me almost 3 times just to go ahead and figure this out. I mean, 3 times. And as you can see right here, I don't know if it's on this thumbnail, whatever, this right here, you know, I don't know if they still have the same producers that they had before. Because I remember when Carlos King was talking about the producers that he don't want nobody to talk about his producers. He said it in so many words, but no way in the world, especially when you are revamping the show, I would have the same producers. I won't do that. So, like I said, if you want to hear the truth, come in here. If you want to hear my truth, come in here. But if you want to hear someone tell you, what you want to hear, I promise you, this is not going to be the platform for you, because I'm not going to come in and tell you something just to get clicks and likes. I'd rather just go ahead and shut it down. I promise you. I'd rather just go ahead and shut it down, or just move on, because nowhere in the world I can come on and tell you something that I know is not true. Okay. In here is Unapologetic Real Talk. Thank you, Stylist. Stylist Jill is in the house. She says, hey, Lady D and chat. So, guys, welcome to Unapologetic Real Talk. And we're gonna go on with it. I was trying to see if I can go ahead and put some clips, man. It's just so hard to load. I don't know why. Maybe I have to go ahead and clean some stuff out. But the title was Love and Marriage in Huntsville, Season 10, Episode 2. I am Ken-ough. I don't know what that means. I went ahead and I asked Chat GPT, what is OUGH? They say I don't know what it is either. So if Chat GPT does not know, and that's why I said they said you got to watch those producers. I hope they went ahead and they changed the producers, because a lot of stuff, opening up does not make no sense. And you remember how they used to say the first impression is the last impression. Okay. So, guys, let me go ahead and do my copyright disclaimer. And like I said, it is what it is. I'm going to stand on my truth when it comes to all this right here. To me, a lot of stuff didn't make no sense. Now, the first episode, I liked it, because I wanted to see Miss Wanda back, and I also wanted to see Martell, at least, talk about Ariane, because we already know it's a process. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get into all that. So let me go ahead and read my copyright disclaimer. And I don't know why when I come on, it look like I'm red. I don't know why it's like that, which I'm going to not use the green screen anymore. I'm just waiting for some of my stuff to come in so I can go ahead and fix my studio. But I went ahead and I took the back, I took the screen off, and it still was red. I don't know why. So just bear with me, guys. Let me go ahead and read this copyright disclaimer, and then we can go ahead into my commentary. So again, guys, thank you for joining. Make sure you go ahead and hit like, comment, and share for more unapologetic content. And if you feel like Cash Apping, you are not obligated. Cash App Real Talk 985. Okay. So my disclaimer is under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for the use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. So again, guys, make sure you go ahead and hit like, comment, and share these videos for more unapologetic content. So like I say, when it came to the title, I am Ken. I don't know what the hell it means. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. I'd be telling you a lie if I know what it means. But they open up. I think they open it up with, and I watched it about 3 times, and I still don't remember. Okay, but what I went ahead and I put down a little bit. They open up the scene with Martell and Destiny. They met at a YT furniture store, and you already know when I talk about. These black reality shows, I wants to see them support black businesses. Okay, I saw where Martell met Destiny in a YT furniture store. You know how I am when it comes to that. So it just really like someone just taking fingernails to a chalkboard and just scratching it. When I see that, we have these black ensemble casts in these reality shows, and they always go and support YT businesses. Okay, I just don't like that. So now you see exactly what type of commentary that you're going to get today. Okay, because I'm through with the BS, and that's real talk. Okay, so the scene was with Martell and Destiny. They met up at a furniture store, uh, helping Martell to go ahead and look for some furniture for him and Ariane. And I'm not going to tell you no lie, that part did not make no sense because I don't need my man to have another woman to pick out furniture for me. That's why I sit there and say we need to go ahead and look at the producer's side eye, because no way in the world that I would allow that to get on television. Okay, no way in the world I would allow that. Why did Martell needed Destiny to help him look for some furniture for him and Ariane? Make it make sense. And he said that they were not moving into one of his properties. He was just going ahead and let Ariane, and I guess, and the children to move in that house. But that part, it just didn't make no sense because I know that he's trying to open up so he can be able to bring it in, bring Ariane on. But when it comes to Martell and talking about Ariane, it's like he's pulling teeth. To me, it's like he's pulling teeth. It's like he's not quite, honest. And maybe because, he's not so open with it because the way that everything went about. But like I said, it is what it is. Melody and Martell been divorced for almost 6 years. So, it's time for both of them to move on. Even it's time for the fans. It's time for us to move on. It is what it is. Okay. Hey, Nicole. Nicole is in the house. Thank you guys for coming in. Country Girl said, I thought they were staying together. That's just all this right here. What you see is script. I don't believe that they stay in two separate houses and paying, two separate bills. I don't think that they doing that. I promise you, I don't think that all this right here, what you see is just for show. But Martell already said, Martell said you either going to tell my real life or just go ahead and fire me. So I don't know if this the way that they trying to go ahead and open up. But if I was a part of the producers, if I was a part of Callers King team, which come on and hire me, Callers King, because half of the stuff that I went ahead and I put out, trust me, it played out almost exactly the way that I said it. So you might as well just go ahead and put me on a book. Put me on the book, okay? Because when I say something, trust me, you could take it to the bank. When most like what I've said sound more interesting than what you see, okay? So no way in the world I would have opened up like that because everybody in everybody's business. I didn't like that. Maurice trying to talk to Ken and talk to Marquez, and Maurice got some problems of his own, that he really didn't even tackle the issues. It just was so much, man. It just was so much to me. Nikki said not validate Ariane. It just didn't make no sense. It's a lot of stuff didn't make no sense where I ain't gonna tell you no lie. I had to go ahead and watch it almost 3 times. That's why I said when it comes to Call Us King producers, I will be watching them side eyes because the opening, didn't make no sense. Now I like the part, the first episode when they open up, when I saw Miss Wanda came through the door, where she had drove up in a little white SUV. I liked that part because you already know, I already had called it for it. I wanted to see Miss Wanda come back on that show. And the reason why, because I felt like they owed her because she had got a bad deal. And when I said Miss Wanda had got a bad deal, because when Melody went in and tried to sit there and throw stones at her, knowing that she was doing the same thing. So before I continue going on, I have to go ahead and give my girl a shout out. I promise you, it is good. My husband uses it. I mean, I'm not going to tell you no lie. My husband had fried some chicken, and he went ahead, and I hope you guys can see it. He went ahead and he used Show Enough Miss Wanda season. And I promise you, I'm not telling you no lie. I'm not telling you no lie. And if I say this is the God honest truth, I'm not telling you no lie. I uses it, but my husband, he went ahead and used it because we down here from the south, and we likes our Creole season, okay? But when he went ahead and he just used Show Enough Miss Wanda, and Miss Wanda is not paying me. Miss Wanda didn't ask me to do it, but I'm telling you, when he used her season, all purpose, we have the all purpose season. And when he went ahead and he used it on the chicken, I promise you, it took it to a whole new level. Okay, so shout out to Miss Wanda. This right here is my second. This is my second container. Now she did told me that if I order again, she will make sure that she put the apron. Okay, so I want to make sure that I order again, but so we can go ahead and put the apron. But this is good. And also when she packaged, she just don't just give you just this right container. She gives you like several different little smaller samples where you can go ahead and try that as well. Okay, so shout out to Show Enough Miss Wanda. So also getting back to where I was, Nikki B said Ken and Tisha situation is sad. I feel Tisha has allowed Ken. Yes, we're gonna go ahead and talk about it at that as well, because it was very eerie. It was, oh my God, especially when Ken said, and it's not his word verbatim, but I did write it down. I can't see it that much. I'll probably get to it later. But when Ken has said that to Marquez, it's your kids, but it's my family. Make it make sense. I mean, I would not even allow Ken around my children. Okay, I promise you, he is more weird than what Marquez. And Marquez, sometimes he comes off as he throwed off, but it's just so weird. They're so weird. Man, if you want Trisha, you stay with Trisha. Don't even worry about his kids, okay? Like I say, it's like he wants validation. You are absolutely right that, oh, I went and I brought him to school. Oh, I helped fund their events, and I helped do this to the kids. I helped did that. I. That's what it comes across like. He wants credit. He wants credit of what he's doing. But just like Marquez saying, you are staying in these kids' house. That house belongs to Trisha and her kids. I don't want no man. If a man, gonna live with me, no. You don't have nothing to say. Nothing to say. But I don't like when Marquez just came in. Now, last week when he just came in the door and just stood over them, that was weird. I mean, that was weird as you know what. But when he went ahead and he explained it, the reason why he came in, because he went and picked up his daughter from school, and she had some bags or some bottles in her hands or whatever he said. So he went ahead and he opened the door to let her in. But all that right there, that scene is weird. And I just hope when it comes to the producers, I hope you guys go ahead and get it right. Make sure that it flows and it makes sense, because that does not make sense at all. Okay. Also, Nikki said to all this, but she is still married. Absolutely. It just don't make no sense. And I think that what they are doing is, they trying to I don't know, they trying to rush the first episodes. I don't know, but to me it doesn't make no sense at all, and that's real talk. Country girl Queen says, I believe Trisha is dragging that divorce because she's not ready to marry Ken. Ken, he's very insecure. He's fine and all that, but he come across as very insecure. Now, I do understand, when it comes to Marquez, he's the type of person that, he pokes the bear. But the thing about it is, I would do the same thing because I have my kids in this house with this lunatic. And we already know when it comes to Ken can blow up in a minute because when that was last season, when him and Trisha got into it, I mean, this guy was very scary. He even called Trisha out her name and talked about all what he have done. I don't care, Negro. You staying in a two-story home in a nice, very neighborhood, and I promise you, if you would have went ahead and rented or leased something as what Trisha have, what he's living in, dude, you would be paying about $4,000 or $5,000 a month, or maybe more. So tell me where you can go and stay in a house that's already got the light stuff, the water already furnished, and you can sit there and lay your tail down and talk about what all you done paid. Make it make sense. Dude, you came in a already made family, okay? The house was already set. Make it make sense, okay? And that's real talk. I hope I'm not sounding loud, guys, but when I'm on TikTok, they claim that they can't hear me. So I went ahead and turned up my mic. Hey, Sassy Brown. Sassy Brown says, good evening, everyone, and true tellers. Thank you for coming in, okay? Sassy Brown also says, quick temper, okay? So let me see who all in here. Guys, welcome. Nikki B, thank you guys for coming in to Unapologetic Real Talk. And like I said, I can't sugarcoat it. I have to call it like it is, okay? I just think that when it comes to the way that they said everything, the first episodes, I know it is, so I'm gonna go ahead and give them some slack, okay? But I also don't want to see all that fighting. I see, I don't know if it's gonna be next week when Nell and whoever, Tisha, whoever get into it, or Kimmy. I don't want to see all that, okay? Because, like I said, I'm ready to see these people build. And anyone that going around, I saw someone had said, I didn't watch the video, but I saw the title where she's saying the episode was boring. Now, when they start building and they start doing something for their community, anyone that sit there and say they boring, then something got to be wrong with you, okay? It's just that you don't want to see Black excellent, okay? So let's go ahead and see where I left off at, because like I said, I'm sick of Ken and Trisha and Marquise. They should just be friends of that show because it does not make no sense. And I don't understand why they center everything around them, okay? It just didn't make no sense. And also, they opened up, which I did talk about, Martell and Destiny, how Martell was telling Destiny that Ariane is moving in his investment home. And I didn't understand that part, because the reason why I didn't, because he was in a furniture store, a YT furniture store, and him and Destiny was, looking at furniture. And I felt like, hey, I don't need no woman to other woman to look for furniture for me. You acting like Ariane had some bad taste, even though I know it's script, okay? So let me just go ahead and just do my thing, Martell, okay? And that's real talk. So Martell, he need to stop, he need to stop shying away. It's like he's so shy to talk about Ariane. Dude, Ariane been in your marriage half of the time you and Melody been married. Ariane been in that marriage. Long as you and Melody was married, Ariane was in the picture. Now all of a sudden he wants to act like he's shying away. Dude, look, you know good and well she was the other woman. You even said that when you was on Tasha K. Don't call her no side chick. That's my woman, okay? So that's your woman. Stop shying away when the cameras are on you. We don't want to hear, oh, that you downsizing her as if you doing her a favor. You're not doing her a favor, okay? If anything, she's doing you a favor because when it comes to Ariane was young and she was vibrant, and I don't care if she had a child. She was in college when she met you, okay? So we don't need that shyness. Oh, if she do right, if she cook, if she, do the things that I need her to do. No, you don't need no mammy maid. You don't need that. And like I said, in here is real talk. And you guys know I go all out when it comes to Martell and Ariane, but I'm also gonna stand on my truth. He said there and say the qualities, what he like about Ariane, but it all was to me is to accommodate him. What about what she like? She's not gonna just cook and cater to you. You ain't no baby. Even though he did talk about last week that he was gonna, make sure that she get back in school, which that's a plus. But I don't want to hear that's all Ariane is for is to cook and clean and help you with your kids. Okay, I don't want to hear that. I want to see that you guys prosper together. I don't mind, because like I said, we Southern women, we gonna take care of man. And I truly believe that when it comes to Martell gonna be equal when it comes to the house. But I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear, oh, this is I would give her a ring if this is what she do to me. I don't want to hear that, Martell. I promise you, I don't want to hear that. Okay, and that's real talk. So where I'm at, so he did say that Ariane had all the qualities of taking care of him, and I hope it's just not just like I said about cooking, and taking care of the kids. Also, Destiny had told Martell to keep up with his therapy. Now I like that. I like it. I like the friendship that Destiny and Martell have. Melody, she felt like she Destiny was trying, to get with Martell. No, they like brothers and sisters. It's just that you needed a storyline. You thought that that was going to play out, just like Destiny was sitting there saying. And all this right here is a legend. All this right here is for entertainment purpose only. Destiny was sitting there saying, the way that Melody was acting. And yes, I'm going to talk about Melody, okay? That she acted like she wanted a threesome with Destiny, Martell, and herself, okay? That's to me. That's how I heard it. But I like the friendship. I really like the friendship. The brother sister friendship that Martell and Destiny have. I really like that, where she told him, I want you to go ahead and keep up your therapy because you don't want history to repeat itself. But I don't believe that when it comes to Martell is a type of person that he will go around to Dottie Squad and everybody. That's what they was trying to paint as if, he was that type of person. I truly believe that when it comes to Ariane, that is his soulmate. And I know you don't like it, okay? Like I said, a lot of things that we don't like, but it's not for us to like. If they love it, we love it to death. Like I said, one person trash is another person treasure. Melody didn't want it. What Ariane said? Ariane said that she got Martell with her eyes closed. And quite obvious, she's still with him today. Still with him today, okay? So it is what it is. So the ones that's saying that, oh, we're not going to watch the show, I promise you, they smack dab in the middle of it. And the only reason why they're not doing any commentary about it because they fret that they're going to cross a Melody because Melody used that reverse psychology that if you watch it, she's going to go ahead pretty much, and I'm going to say allegedly, go ahead and, unfollow you or something like that. But I promise you, they going to start doing some commentary on it this minute when Ariane walk on that show. Like I said, whether good news, bad news, hey, they still gonna watch it, okay? They still gonna report on it, okay? In this real talk, it is what it is. So you cannot get mad. I told you guys, I already had called it out. I say Ariane is coming on that show, whether you guys like it or not. You know? And the sad thing about it is that Ariane gonna be able to film with her children, and Melody is not gonna be able to have her children on that show because that's court orders according to what Martell went ahead and put in the documents that the kids cannot film because Melody was trying to, and the producers was trying to use, the kids, to pick between Melody and Martell, and that was not fair. Who you favor? You favor your mom better, or you favor your dad? What producers would do stuff like that? That's why I said there, and I say when it comes to producers, I will look at them side eye. I just hope that when he revamped this entire cast, that he also revamped the producers as well. Because to me, it does not make no sense. I don't want to see Maurice thinking that he can mentor Marquise and Kent when he still have issues of himself. What man that gonna come in anytime when he feel like it? Make it make sense. Kim been talking about the problems that she have with her husband, but yet he got advice for somebody else. That's the part that I don't understand. Make it make sense. We always can see the big old speck in somebody else's eye, or small speck in somebody else's eyes, but when it comes to what's in our eyes, we can't see the daggone pole. We can't see the forest from the trees. Make it make sense, okay? So, like I said, it is what it is. I'm going to give you my honest opinion, okay? So, where am I? So, the reason why Destiny went ahead and told Martell that he need to go ahead and keep up with his therapy, because he keep allowing people to remind him about, he got 4 kids for his ex-wife, okay? And it would be hard to bring that, into another marriage, which, that does make sense. So, kudos to that. Kudos to Destiny, okay? Because he need to continue getting some therapy. Hey, Tammy Tucker is in the house. She says, good evening, everyone. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming in. Make sure you go ahead and hit like, comment, and share these videos for more unapologetic content. And yes, I am tongue-tied. The reason why I'm tongue-tied, guys, this right here is my second live, okay? So let's go ahead and continue. And I know, guys, when it comes to my commentary usually gets under people's skin, okay? But it is what it is, because I'm going to stand on my truth. So let's go ahead and change the subject, okay? We're going to move on from Martell and Destiny. We're going to go ahead and talk about Marsau. Okay, we already know that when it comes to Marsau and Tisha, they went ahead and they purchased that 10 acres of land, okay, in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about that, which Tisha went ahead and told Marsau that they've been building it since 2019. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about that. Like I said, in here is real talk, unapologetic, and 9 buys. Nobody gets a pass, okay? Nobody get a pass. That's just like when it comes to my kids. I love my kids, but I'm going to stand on my truth, okay? So don't think that, just because you might think, she ride hard for Tisha, she ride hard for Martell and Ariane, that she's not going to say anything. But like I said, in here is unapologetic. Real talk, okay? I am non-biased, and this right here is unedited, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about Marsau. When it comes to Marsau building on that piece of acre land, well, it's not piece, that's a lot of land, 10 acres, okay? And they've been building it for 2019. I think to me, it's a money guzzler. And the reason why I think it's a money guzzler, because most of his money was exactly how we would say, use it as just how can I say it? I can't say a parable because you guys don't understand what I'm saying. But most of the money went into the ground. Okay, so to me, it was like a money pit, because where he was in the middle of nowhere and don't have the right infrastructure, and at least if he would have went and got a piece of land or 10 acres of land somewhere else where that people around, or they got all the infrastructure, everything that's in the ground, the pipes and all that, and don't have to worry about exploring or blowing up the rocks and stuff like that, I think that he would have saved some money. But we already know that this guy had to put all types of dynamites inside that ground in order to break it up because it was pretty much in the middle of nowhere on rocks. So to me, I think that no way in the world that I would have went that route, and especially when Tisha was sitting there saying, they've been building on it since 2019, and I'm pretty sure that they're gonna bill on it, from longer than that because it's too much money because he's building it from scratch, from the ground up. But the thing about it is that it's out in the middle of nowhere, and the thing, it's just too much work trying to break those grounds. That's a lot. But he also, I like the comedy part, but each is on. I'm just giving you my honest review. But he also, I like how Tisha was sitting there saying, she had a room for her mom. And he talked about, oh, it was going to be way back there, and he said somewhere, close to the snakes and, all kind of stuff. He was saying some stupid stuff. But I'm pretty sure when it comes to Miss Wanda, she's going to make sure that she has a room that's set aside for her because, the house is going to be pretty, pretty big. So I just prayed that, they be blessed and I want to see our people, I want to see them prosper, but I also want us to be good stewards when it comes to money. Now he did say that he had other properties that he's building, and other businesses that he's doing, so maybe right there, they have the extra money and it could take the time to go ahead and build their dream home. So I don't know, so it is what it is. Okay, so so I talked about that. Okay, so it's like when it comes to Marsau, let me go ahead and say that because I also put that down. Tisha also talked about, he was supposed to finish, her little project. And when it comes to Marsau, according to when they talked about like the YouTubers, how he was starting projects and he don't finish. And you find a lot like that, because Tisha still she's looking for Marsau to not Marsau, Marcel, what's his name? It's Marsau, yes, Marsau to go ahead and finish her project, but he's still doing all these other different jobs. Okay, so let's go ahead and I talked about Maurice. Okay, I talked about Maurice earlier when he's was mentoring Marquez. Like I said, I'm so over it. I'm really so over it because I feel that everybody got enough business and drama in their own personal life, than to go and try to talk to somebody else. And when it comes to Marquez, like and Kent and Tisha, it's just so weird to me. It doesn't make no sense. I don't know about you guys, but to me, it does not make no sense. Okay, so let me know what your thoughts about that because this is how I felt when it came to the show. They made it all about Kent, Marquez, and Tisha, Trisha. To me, it didn't make no sense at all. When he went in the house, I think that they need to go ahead and just set some type of boundaries when it comes to Marquez because you could see that he gets under Ken's skin. And when it comes to Ken, I think Ken should just, back off some when it comes to the kids because that's Marquez's kids. And if I was, Tisha, what's her name? Tisha. If I was Trisha, I would tell Trisha, I would stand up, I would tell Ken, these is not your kids, and I thank you for, what you're giving, I thank you for that. But, that's not, that's not your kids, so we're going to make sure that when it comes to Marquez, let Marquez, do what he need to do, especially when it comes to the support if he's willing, to do for his kids, that's what I would say. I don't want, maybe, it might be me. It might just be the old fashioned person in me, but I just don't want, especially when I know that they are not the father. Let me know, what you think. If they're not the father, I don't want to see the stepfather, coming out and saying what they did, oh, I did this, I did that, you wasn't around. To me, it might just be me, But to me, it's just kind of creepy. I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts about it, guys, because maybe it's me. I don't know. But it was so weird, and they cannot get along. Every time when Ken and Marquez, they are in front of each other, it always a fight. You know, it just didn't make no sense, guys. To me, that's what I call weird. Okay, so let me know what your thoughts about that. Thank you guys for coming in. Make sure you go ahead and hit like, comment, and share these videos for more unapologetic content. And like I said, in here is real talk. And I'm gonna go ahead and call it like it is. But your kids, but my family, that part did not make no sense. That part to me, it was creepy. When it comes to Ken is fine. It's all outdoors, but the dude is weird, man. All both of them is weird. All three of them is weird. It just don't make no sense because at first I thought when it came to Trisha, I thought that, she was on the spectrum or something was wrong with her, but found out that she's very smart. She's an engineer at NASA. And I don't know, maybe she's not used to the cameras because we already know it was a lot of new, cast members when they first came on the show. They was kind of all over the place too. So, the jury's still out. I'm still gonna give a chance, but the thing about it is, I don't want to see them fighting over the kids. I just don't want to see that. Stylist says Ken has overstepped his boundaries. Absolutely. Absolutely. To me, it was just too, it was strange. I never saw that, and I understand all this right here is for entertainment, but, we always say that when it comes to the kids, we always talked about that the children are off limits. So if the kids are off limits, why are you making it about a storyline about the kids? Make it make sense. Is that the way that you want to continue, with your storyline, since the beginning? Ken, Trisha, and Marquez, they was fighting, and talking about the same thing. So for them to make it a part of a storyline and give them so many episodes about that, to me, it did not make no sense. I wanted to see them to continue, especially when it came to Martell. I wanted to see Martell, at least come in with the kid, his child. I wanted to see that. They could have opened up with that because, just like I said, the first impression is always the last impression. I would have loved to see, instead of him going into a furniture store without Ariane but picking furniture up for her, I would have rather for Martell. That's how, if I would have went ahead and produced the show. That's why I sit there and say, call us king. Please put me on the books, okay? Put me on the books because half of the stuff that I always call it right, okay? But I would have went ahead and I would have opened up when it came to Martell. If they didn't want to show Ariane right now, I would have had, the child, running to his dad into the park. They could have had a scene like that. I promise you, if they would have showed that scene of Martell, with his child in the park, those ratings would have went up. I promise you, and that's real talk. Tammy Tucker says, I agree with you about stepfathers, but Marquez is too comfortable in women face arguing with them. Absolutely. I'm not even going to argue with that. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. But the thing about it is that it looked like they need Marquez to do stuff like that. To me, it's like they need him to do it. Maybe to keep them with a storyline. But still of all, they should set boundaries because we already know when it comes to Marquez look like he not definitely on the spectrum. So what they need to do is tell Marquez, look, hey, this is what I want you to do. I want you to, be around your kids and, but stay on the outside. Marquez came straight in. It was very uncomfortable. It was very creepy, but I'm glad that he went ahead and explained it. But I understand. I understand Marquez because that is his children. What man, what woman wants some other man so involved around their kids where they trying to exit out the father? You trying to exit out me. You trying to take me out of my children's life. And for Ken to say, you the father, but this is my family, I would stay on that Nego 24/7 because it's like you trying to take my role. Even if I'm not in there, you will never be the father. These kids gonna always be my children. You don't have no children, Ken. You don't have no kids. So why are you putting all that extra energy? Focus on Trisha. That's who you need to focus on. Focus on her. But when it comes to my kids, do what you want to do. You do it because that's what you want to do. But don't do it because you trying to sit there and somebody pat you on your shoulder or someone say, oh, you're a good stepfather. No, don't do that because you will never be those kids' father. Play your role, dude. That's that's all about of sitting there getting an already made family. Pretty sure that when he met Trisha already had the home, the children was already there, and then he's saying that's his family. You haven't even said that you was married to her. So how can you say that's your family? You're free to leave anytime and don't even have to look back because you don't have any attachments there. So for you to sit there and act like, oh, I'm doing so much and that this is my family. No, you have not even said I do. He have never said I do. So what's the purpose? They are not even married. For him to say, my kids, your kids, let me, ooh. Hold on one second. I'm about to click myself out. I mean, it just didn't make sense. I ain't gonna tell you no lie, God. I had to watch this show almost 3 times a day. I didn't even watch this Sunday. I tried, but I stopped and I tried watching it this morning, and then I went ahead and I finished watching it. But it was kind of hard watch, and the reason why it was a hard watch because just like I said, everybody had so much to talk about when it comes to their own personal business, but everybody was in everybody else's business. And when Ken went ahead and he said, "Your kids, but my family," it was weird. It was weird. So if I had to go ahead and rate this show, I would give it a 3. I promise you. I'm not gonna tell you no lie. I'm not gonna tell you no lie. I will give it a 3. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to watch it next week, and I hope that it's something that I can be able to talk about. But this episode right here called "I Am Ken-ough," I don't know what the freak it is, what that means, but I didn't like it. I promise you, I didn't like it at all. When it came to um, Maurice mentoring them, I didn't like it. I don't even know if they showed nail or not. I didn't like it. Okay. Um, so Stylish Jill says that when Ken learned how to respect that Marquez is forever her first family, even after divorce, he can't be erased. He's creepy to me. Absolutely. That's the part that I just didn't understand. I mean, I promise you guys, I just didn't understand. That was weird. If I had someone, that was, just coming in my life and I have my kids and, my ex, even though, he in and out, but I still wouldn't give another man that much power and control over my kids even if he's helping out. But you also have to realize that you came into their world, you are in their home. you know when you feel like you want to leave, you can go ahead and leave. So to me, guys, I promise you, it didn't make no sense. I tried to sit there and come on, and see something that I can go ahead and give you at least, something positive, and I hope that this is positive. This is my honest opinion that when it came to this episode right here, two, I just didn't like it, and I don't want to see when it comes to Martell. I don't want to see Martell, keep feeling like he got the pulled tooth, in order to talk about Ariane because it's no tooth to be pulled. You've been with this woman for years, half of your marriage, and you got a child for her, a child with her. So you don't have to feel like you're uncomfortable to talk about her because she was a part of your life, for a very long time in your marriage. So it is what it is. Either people going to accept it or are they not? That's exactly how I see it. But let me know what your thoughts about it, guys. This is my honest opinion. This is exactly how I saw it. I think that it was very, very weird, and I definitely want to see them prosper. But I want to see Black excellent. I want to see when it comes to Martell and Ariane, if they're together, I want to see them building up homes and doing things together. I just don't want to see, oh, she's there because I'm doing her a favor. No, you're not doing her a favor, not at all. Not at all, because you have to realize that you already came, from out of a marriage and with four kids, and she only had one at the time, and she also was in school. Okay, so I don't want to feel that the reason why you are with Ariane because you are doing her a favor, and that's the way that you are showing us on TV. Because I know in real life it's not like that. I know for sure, and I can feel it, even though, I can't say for sure, but I don't think that Ariane is going to sit there and be a doormat and just be cooking and cleaning and not getting something in return. I'm pretty sure that he's taking care of her just like he went ahead and he took care of Melody. Melody has said that she didn't want it for anything, that when it came to Martell went ahead and treated her like a queen, okay? So I'm pretty sure that he's playing all that out, just because when it comes to the cameras, okay? And when it comes to Tisha and Marsau, I don't want to see that these two are, fighting over, their marriage, because if I'm not mistaken, these people, they've been married for 19 years. And if they are going and getting therapy, go ahead and get therapy. I don't mind, seeing them going and get therapy, because like I said, when it comes to marriage, marriage is a work. But I want to see Black excellent. I want to see them building. I want to see businesses right there on little old Huntsville. I want them to pick up the mantle, because they said that the reason why they went ahead and they pitched this reality show because they wanted to put Huntsville on the map. So I want to see them run with it. Also, when it comes to Maurice and Kimmy, I want to see them in their business. I want to see them doing things. I don't want to see nobody talking about nobody's business. So, guys, I got about 8 more minutes. I'm going to try to see if I can go ahead and stay on the live. Make sure you go ahead and hit like, comment, and share these videos for more apologetic content. And like I say, when it comes to my content, guys, I try to stay on my truth. Okay, I try to give you the best commentary that I can. Okay, also, let me see. Stalin says that good Black men go through the fire. He makes things easy when the father of the kids. Yeah, Black man goes through a lot. We like I said, and I understand. Especially when it comes to families, and we go through a lot. And the thing about it, when it comes to this reality show, they went ahead and they put their lives on this place. So everybody is picking it apart. But the thing about it is that we all can take a piece. All of us can take a piece out of all this that's going on. And I truly believe, because I already saw it played out. One monkey don't make no show. When it comes to this show right here, I truly believe that they can go ahead and put it on the map. But they also got to, get things together. They can't just think that they can just throw us anything. No, 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 no. Maybe back then you most likely could just throw us anything and it just stick. But people have been so invested as if, this is their life. when it comes to this reality show. These people have been stalking, been harassing, and they felt like they know these people. So you just can't just throw us anything. So, like I said, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna talk about this right quick. You know, if I was producing this show, if I was a part of Callers King uh, team, this is exactly how I would have done it. Because, like I said, we watching this, so I would have opened up just like they did the very first episode. I liked it that I wanted to see Miss Wanda. I wanted to see her come on the show because I felt like she had got a raw deal. But episode two, I wanted to see Martell at least interacting. That's what I wanted to see. So if you want to see those ratings hit the roof, because we already know when it comes to Love and Marriage in Huntsville, they already count you out. We already know that they got all these doggone little trolls wants to see this show go under. They've been trying since day one to get this show canceled. But like I said, they got the ball in their hands, and I truly believe when it comes to this show, Love and Marriage in Huntsville, which this is the only show that we really watch, that's with an all black cast, besides Real Housewives of Atlanta, which they can't figure out what's going on with them. But the only show that we really have, especially where we all can watch it, without all that ratchetness, is Love and Marriage in Huntsville. So what we want, because like I said, it's just like with Walmart, you got customers come first. So, we feel that since we are watching this, just give us what we want. So what we want to see, we want to see, even though I know everything is a process, because we can't say, oh, all of a sudden, when it comes to Martell can just go ahead and bring Ariane on that show. We know that it's a process, but we also know that when it comes to Love and Marriage in Huntsville, everybody's eyes is on Martell. Either he's going to, tell his real life, or he might as well just go ahead and shut it down. But I'm pretty sure he got something that he's going to bring, and most likely it's the producers. That's who I blame. I blame the producers are the ones that's trying to spin this narrative the way that they want to spin it. I understand. So it's reality. This is a reality show. But what I would have done, I would have wanted to see, because I'm not mistaken, I think when it comes to Martell's son, I think he's about maybe about 4 or 5 years old. So it's time to go ahead and introduce him to the Love and Marriage in Huntsville. I don't want to see Martell and Destiny, opening up anymore. If I'm not mistaken, I think this was the second time that they went ahead and open up. I don't want to see them opening up together. I don't want to see them talking about what he's going to do with Ariane. It's not like you just met her. You guys been together half of your marriage, okay? So I want to see Martell interact with his son, even if they got to go to the park or they go get some ice cream, or go hit some balls or something like that. That's what I want to see, okay? And when it comes to Tisha and Marsau, I want to see them two, working together. I want to see them with their hard hats, just like I saw, you know, uh, this week. I want to see that. I want to see them build. I also want to see him focusing on what she wants. If she wants her business or whatever she's doing, her little office fix, I want to see that fix. Make sure that's your first priority. Now, when it comes to Maurice and Kimmy, I want to see them. I want to see them doing things. I want to see their business and all this. I saw where now they add Jada, that's Kimmy's son, talking about Jada saying, I think that you loved the monster more than you loved me. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Dude, you are a grown man. Quite obvious that is his biological son, okay? So quite obvious he's more attached to his biological son than he is to you. You could have just kept that on the cutting room floor, okay? Like I said, they missed it. I promise you. I think that those producers just did that spitefully, okay? Thank you for interacting, stylist. I'm about to go ahead and leave, but thank you for interacting because it makes it go fast because I really didn't have too much to talk about when it came to this show, okay? So Starla says, I don't want Martell to turn into his ex, just having scenes talking about everybody and not talking about real life. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Thank you for just putting it together. That's all I'm saying. I just don't want to see that. I don't want to see him turning into his ex-wife. I want to see Martell doing what him and his ex-wife was starting off to do, building together, even if it's not with her, with Ariane. I want to see them building the houses. I want to see a family. That's what I want to see. Okay. I don't want to see all this other stuff anymore. Okay. So thank you for making it easy for me, Stylist, because I really didn't have too much to talk about because they didn't really give me nothing to talk about. Okay. So Tammy Tucker says Martell and Ariane wedding is like going to be the grand finale. Absolutely. Absolutely. And want me to tell you something? Who called it? Who called that? Who called it? I already saw it. I told you guys exactly how everything was going to end. I told you guys, I said, Ariane was going to come through that door. And the reason why Ariane was going to come through that door, because you never win when you play dirty. We already know when it came to Melody. Melody was calling everybody out, talking about, they feeding these bloggers all the while allegedly, all this right here is for entertainment purpose only. They fighting with each other now and telling on each other, going in and out of court, and because they was feeding each other. You never win when you play dirty. Absolutely, absolutely. You can go ahead and close me out, country girl, but I called it. I called it. But guys, this was the hardest commentary that I did. It's just I didn't have nothing to work with. I promise you, they didn't give me nothing to work with. But I just hope next week that they can mind their business. They got so much business of their own. Make sure that it makes sense. I don't want to hear anything about Jalen talking about he felt like he was in love. I don't want to hear Ken and worrying about kids that's not his, okay? If you're going to do for her, do for her. Remember, you laying in those kids' beds, okay? You eating those kids' food, okay? Even if you contributing, still of all, you living in something that's, if you had your own lease apartment or houses, you would be paying for $4,000 to $5,000 a month. Okay, so just be thankful and be grateful. Okay, Stella said you did good. I love hearing your perspective. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, guys, on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. Make sure you go ahead and support this channel, guys. If you want me to continue coming on, I love to come. I always talk about if it's 2 or 3, I'm still gonna come, but it does not set well with YouTube. Okay, it doesn't set well with YouTube. YouTube got all of my numbers going down. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, I say let me go ahead and come live so I can at least get some of the numbers up, so at least I can stay in their good grace. Okay, but when I looked at my numbers, I say, oh my God, my numbers are really down. Okay, I promise you, it looks so bad where YouTube probably sat there and said, we got to go ahead and get this off. Okay, so guys, on that note, you all be blessed. Like I say, this is my honest commentary. I try to stand on my truth. I try to be non-biased. I'm gonna call it like it is, whether I like them or not. So don't take none of this that I say. Don't take it personal, because, like I said, it is what it is, and that's real talk. So, as my country girl would say, another great life, unapologetic real talk. Everyone enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe, prayed up, and God bless you all. Thank you again, everyone, for coming over today, and thanks for the thumbs up live. Thank you very much, guys. So on that note, guys, you all be blessed, and remember, go outside and touch some grass and do something that is positive and very productive. Tammy Tucker says peace and blessing to you all. So guys, thank you for coming in. All the ones that was in the bushes, come out the bushes, guys. Trust me, I promise you, I won't bite. But make sure you go ahead and hit like, comment, and share these videos for more unapologetic content. You all be blessed. With all that I'm around, you get it. I'm not